Hi everybody, I'm Dweezil Zappa. Welcome to my futuristic retro sound laboratory that I've built. I call it HIKARI Studios. Now, I've always been interested in sound. My dad was very much the same. He showed me so many things as I grew up, watching him work, watching him write music, watching him record music. So as I learned to play music, I also wanted to learn how to record music. And over the past maybe 25 years, I've been a student of engineering. And when I built this particular studio, I wanted it to be able to give me the best hybrid situation where I could use analog and digital and then take that into the future. And that happened to be Atmos and surround sound and binaural and headphones, special mixing. So that's what the studio has been designed to do, but I did have a lot of things that I had to overcome as far as challenges in building the studio. Some of the specific challenges I faced when I was building the studio related to how I was going to manage the speaker system for Atmos. I had to be able to put them on the walls and in the ceiling in a way that was specific to the design that you need to have the speakers in locations that are really the prime location needed for the sound and the transfer of the sound, keeping stuff in phase. All that is really important, but you need a product that would be able to give you the precision, the stability, and the flexibility to move the thing and know how far you moved it. And I was looking, okay, great. I'm gonna put these speakers on the wall, I'm gonna put them in the ceiling. What's out there? And I found nothing. So it took me a long time to find something that would actually work and be able to hold the weight safely and articulate it, and then let me do the same thing on both sides of the room so that I knew that I had the precision needed for the audio. And it was really an amazing gift to actually find that TRIAD-ORBIT was able to do this and then have people from the company, I could get them on the phone and I could ask them questions and I could say, hey, listen, this is the problem I'm facing. And they made great suggestions. One of the mounts that we have on the wall, we actually had to pull away from the wall and mount a pipe so that we could get it far enough away from the wall to have it at the same radius away from the other speaker. So the kind of flexibility of the product itself, being able to mount either to the wall or to this pipe, this was the kind of solution that I needed, and TRIAD-ORBIT was the only company to make that happen. One thing about TRIAD-ORBIT that became really exciting for me is I realized once I got the speaker mounts, they had all these other things that I didn't even know they made. So I already had mic stands in the studio, but I realized that the mic stands TRIAD-ORBIT makes, they're not just mic stands, it's an actual expandable system that it's almost like a toy set because you can plug things in and extend arms. And again, it's about precision, and that relates to precision of sound and the nuance and the detail that you can get by getting a microphone exactly where you want. So even with that, I can show you right here, this little example. This iPad is on a TRIAD-ORBIT mount that we put into this work surface, and it became the solution that I needed just to be able to move this around so I could see it from different angles and keep it out of the way when I needed it out of the way. But this is one more thing where it was a product that didn't exist, but yet I found a way to use some of the things they made work in this specific location. And now they're actually making desks and furniture that have these built-in parts. So they're nimble enough as a company to say, hey, people need this stuff. Let's keep moving in these directions. And that's another thing I love about the company is that they're super focused on creative problem solving, and that's what you need in the studio. Okay, when I'm in the studio, I need to focus on being creative, and sometimes you need tools to help you stay there. These might not seem like the most exciting tools, but I'm going to show you that they actually are. So these are mic stands. There's 3 of them in different sizes, but let's focus on the big one, the T3. This is interesting because this is a completely expandable modular system. It's not just a mic stand and you just put a mic on it. It does a lot more than what you might think if you just look at it. So, for example, if you needed it to stay at a tilt, you could do that. You could actually figure out which position would get you closer to the sound source using just the bass. And this part right here is where all the really cool stuff happens, because they have this thing called the I/O. It's basically a hexagonal piece that snaps in. It's a quick lock, quick release. And let's say you were ready with your microphone, you could just go right to it. If you have it on a clip, you just snap it in and you're good to go. So I have in my mic locker, most of my mics are ready. I can just pick it up, come over and put it on the thing, and I'm ready to put it exactly where I want it. So it helps you move quickly. It's a creative tool. It's a creative problem-solving device, and it's adaptive, you know. So the real sign of intelligence is being able to adapt to the situation and improvise. And this is very intelligent design. So check this out. You can go from that simple idea to expanding it to now having 2 places to put arms. What this gives you is now you have a single stand that can go in different directions. And if you start really looking at this as a system, you think, wait a minute, I could have 1 stand replace 2 or 3 or 4 stands, because I could start putting arms on this thing. You could use a clamp and you can actually start figuring out, oh, okay, I could put that on there, put an arm here. This same clamp can actually go on drum hardware. It doesn't even have to go on the mic stand. You can put this in special places and you can articulate the sound with total detail and nuance, just because you can make stuff fit into places that you could never get with a regular mic stand, and it would get way too messy. So here's where it gets even cooler. I have this specialty guy right here. This is my favorite one. This is the O2XY. If I give you this thing to look at, this right here is where the TRIAD-ORBIT name really comes into play, because this ball joint is the part that is maneuvering around. It's fully articulate, and this is where you can decide how far out you need to go with 1 stand. You can clip other things on here. This is the adaptable, expandable system that I use in my studio every day. And I tell you what, let's put it to the test on a drum kit right now. Well, look what we have, a very elegant solution. This is a single stand from TRIAD-ORBIT, and because it's modular, you can put different things on and get microphones to places that might have been tougher with multiple stands, which would have made it messy. But we have this very clean setup where we have 5 microphones on 1 stand. The kick drum, we have the top and bottom of this tom, we have the crotch mic, we have the top of this tom, and then look, we have a clamp on the cymbal stand, which you can't hear. There's the vibration on the microphone is not something that you can even hear when you place it on a stand like that. And then we have another stand over here which has 3 microphones, the top of the snare, the bottom of the snare, and the hi-hat. Above me on 1 more clamp is the overhead mic, which is a stereo pair. And this whole thing is a very elegant solution. I don't see how you could do this with multiple other stands and make it this clean, do it this quickly, and have the precision of placement with the mics. That's why I use these in the studio every day. So I've been working in the studio a lot, but I'm also getting ready to do a tour starting August 1st, and I am going to use TRIAD-ORBIT in ways outside the studio that I've never used before. I have cameras that I'm going to mount to the mic stands on stage, and we're going to be able to film the tour, and I'm going to be able to do things to keep people interested in learning about the stories and the folklore that is happening day to day. But it's because of TRIAD-ORBIT and the unique way their products can work with audio and video. I am thinking differently than I would just because the technology makes it possible.